Have you ever utilized a cell phone while driving? If you answered yes, according to the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, you're 4 times more likely to be involved or causing an automobile accident. During my presentation today, I want to give you and provide you with some information that will hopefully deter you from participating in this unsafe practice. In June 2006, University of Utah psychologists published a study that showed that a driver who drives while utilizing a cell phone or a hands-free cell phone shows the same impairment as a drunk driver with a blood alcohol content of 0.08. Now, this study showed no distinction in impairment for drivers who utilize a cell phone or a driver who utilized a hands-free device. It was about the same. The study also showed significant findings, such as 9% of the drivers showed an increase in required stopping distances under normal driving conditions, and 24% increase in variations in following distances and patterns under normal driving conditions. And oddly enough, 3 drivers actually rear-ended the pace vehicle during the study. And yes, it was during the talking portion. Now that I provide you with some of the scientific research and some of the most common hazards, I want to tell you a little bit about the state's laws, state governments and their laws, and how they have started to take a more aggressive approach in solving this problem. According to the government's Highway Safety Association, currently only 6 states, California, Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, and Washington, including the District of Columbia and the Virgin Islands, prohibits all drivers from talking on handheld devices while operating a motor vehicle. With the exception of Washington State, who has what's called primary enforcement law, where law enforcement officials can stop you and cite you for driving utilizing a cell phone for no other offense. Currently, no state totally bans all types of cell phone use while operating a motor vehicle. Additionally, 21 states, including the District of Columbia, prohibit cell phone use by novice drivers. That's drivers with a 1 year or less of experience. And 16 states prohibits drivers from utilizing cell phones altogether. That talks about driving with cell phones, but also the other part of this equation is the texting portion. Currently, 18 states, including the District of Columbia, ban texting messaging during driving for all drivers, and 9 states prohibit it for novice drivers. And sadly enough, only 1 state enforces the law of texting for bus drivers with passengers present. When states issue licenses to individuals, they expect you to follow the state and local laws. You showed a level of good decision making and capabilities, but they also want you to not participate in unsafe practices. And the way we can mitigate this problem is first, I think, through a series of 3 things. Advocate legislation that would increase penalties for violators. Unfortunately, the human condition requires us to take notice of things when it costs us something. And I think if you increase the violation with increased suspensions and penalties as far as fines, it may stop or deter some people from engaging in this unsafe practice. Secondly, is to educate the public, but more importantly, to advocate to businesses not to, or to adopt a policy of employees not utilizing a handheld or even a hands-free cell phone while operating a company-owned vehicle. The United States government has already adopted this policy for all agencies that prohibit employees from driving government-owned vehicles and utilizing a cell phone or hands-free device in operation. And finally, to incorporate distracted driver's training during education at the initial licensing phase, when someone initially gets their license or tries to get their license, and for violators who are going through remediation classes such as defensive driving because they have received a violation. Today I hope I provided you with some little insight in some of the reasons why you should not engage in the practice of driving while utilizing a handheld or hands-free cell phone. Regardless of how safe a driver you are, it makes no distinction of your capabilities given specific situations or circumstances, how you may become distracted and your attention may be diverted, which could result in an accident to yourself and the public. Don't add the cell phone to the mix. It may be the last text message or cell phone call that you receive.